All right, so recording has started. Welcome everybody to our CACFP claims training in PrimeroEdge. We're excited to have you here and excited to show you how this new system for our applications and claiming process works. Um, Again, I'm just keeping an eye on the waiting room to get the people that are joining right now in, and then we will also admit them as they join throughout the
Oh,
meeting. Just a couple of
I
general
cannot
housekeeping
listen
items.
the meeting.
Um,
My
if you
headphones.
if you are one of our participants, welcome. Please remain muted unless you've got a question. My team can also be looking for if we do get any background noise, we may mute people if it does. All right. Um, our co-host will be looking for if we are getting background noise and we do need to mute someone because it doesn't sound like they're asking a question, we'll do that just so we've got a clear recording for everybody. And if you do have a question, you can unmute and ask. I'll go over this in a couple of slides, but you can unmute and ask a question. But if it just sounds like we're getting background noise, we might preemptively mute people just so we've got a clean recording. Today you'll be hearing from me, Nicole Vance. I'm the coordinator for community programs at Child Nutrition. And then we've got a specialist, Nitran, from our program development team who will be going over some of the walkthrough items for putting a claim into PrimeroEdge. So we've got some great help today. And then the community programs team is also in among the participants watching and helping to make sure we'll be getting questions answered or making note of questions that we need to follow up with, and also making sure that people get out of the waiting room since it's nice to have a couple of eyes on that. So let me get my screen set up to start sharing, and we will go ahead and get started. All right, can someone confirm that I'm sharing the correct screen that you would anticipate if I was sharing a PowerPoint?
Yes.
Okay, thank you very much. All right, so welcome again, everybody. Today we will be going through the claim submitting process in PrimeroEdge and showing you what it looks like to submit the October claim specifically. A quick review of the agenda. We are going to go over the available resources that we have created for you to navigate claims in PrimeroEdge and also conduct a walkthrough of what that process actually looks like to actually submit the claim. And then there will be some time towards the end for you to get into PrimeroEdge and submit or begin working on your October 2025 claim in PrimeroEdge. So hopefully everyone will be able to see what that looks like. So our goals for today's training is that you will know where to access the training resources for PrimeroEdge. Sorry, I have to move some screens around so I can see my notes. Um, So you will know where to access the training resources that we've created for PrimeroEdge claims. You'll know how to navigate and submit claims in PrimeroEdge. And then by the end of this training session, um, adding to what I said on the last slide, sponsors who have an approved program year 25 or 26 application will be able to get into October 25 to begin submitting that claim or begin entering the numbers for that claim. I do want to acknowledge that we know there are some applications that are not yet not yet approved by our office. Some are, we're in the process of working with sponsors to get edits made. Some of them we know sponsors are still working on to submit them to us with their program details. So the application does need to be approved in order for a claim to be opened and started, but we'll show you the process now, and then I will share some timelines that we are able to put forth for the claim for this month to help accommodate that kind of lapse in approving applications and getting applications submitted and all of that. All right, quickly, some housekeeping items. Um, Sorry, just a second. Okay. Some housekeeping items. In this Zoom meeting, we actually have disabled the chat function. So you will not be seeing that in your menu of options in the Zoom-like toolbar, but we do have the Q&A box set up. So that's a section where you can communicate with us. You can put questions in that section and we can respond to them there. Also, like I said, if you would like to unmute your microphone and pose a question that way, you can. So the Q&A function is in the toolbar. It looks like a little communication bubble with a question mark on it. It says Q&A under it. If you don't see it in your toolbar, it may be in the three dots that are on the side, and then you can see the Q&A box kind of among the options there. And then when you click on that, it pops up like this. So you can type into that Q&A box. It will share with the room, and then any of the co-hosts can submit answers to questions that are in there if we've got them, or we will take note of any items that we need to follow up with to provide additional information after the training, just knowing that that might be a possibility as this is the first time we are doing claims in this system. But those are the ways you can document questions that you've got, or like I said, you can unmute your mic and pose them verbally.
Hey, Nicole, real quick, can somebody let Debbie in?
Yes, can one of the co-hosts do that?
I think I just did.
Okay,
A couple
thank
minutes.
you. Yes, if anyone sees that a coworker is not able to join or waiting on us to let them in, please share. Thanks, Karina. All right, so like I said, we'll be going through this entire claim process together. So please follow along with the presentation. At the end of the training, we'll give some time to begin working on your claim. And we will also be doing troubleshooting as we can with the Q&A box and anything that comes through over the mic. And like I said, any questions that we may need to follow up afterwards, we will. Throughout this training, if you encounter any technical issues, like you're unable to log in or you're running into a system bug or something like that, you can put that in the Q&A box. If we need to like put people into a breakout room to get specific attention for a login error or something like that, then we will assign someone to help with that. Just wait for your turn to be directed into a breakout room if we need that. Just know that the help desk is exclusively for technical issues on getting into PrimeroEdge and being able to submit the claim. If it's a program-related question or an application-related question, please keep those in the main Q&A box or contact your specialist outside of this training as we're trying to focus on claims today. We are recording this training and we will be sending out the recording. We can send out the slides, and then we also will be sharing a scribe in this training that we will be sending out as well, so people have access to those resources. So if you're not able to finish your claim today or you're not able to get into your claim today, you have those resources for when that option to get in and start submitting your claim becomes available. Any questions at this point? And I have a limited view of the video boxes for everybody. So if anyone on my team, if I'm missing something, feel free to call me out. Okay. The first thing I want to go over really quickly is the due dates and final deadlines for claims as we go out. We do have information about deadlines for claims throughout the year in CACFP Central. They are in the State Forms and Resources section. I'm going to put this link into the chat to CACFP Central. I think everyone should still see the chat. I can type into the chat and you can get links through the chat. Just not all participants can type into the chat. So that link to CACFP Central, from there you can go to State Forms and Resources, and then the information is broken up into different sections. But in the administrative section of CACFP Central, the State Forms and Resources, there's a section called Meal Service, Point of Service, and Claim Consolidation. And there's an option there or an item there called Claim Date Deadlines. And I'm going to show you what the document that we have put there looks like, but it shows you all the deadlines for claims that are coming up throughout the next couple of years. This is what that document looks like that shows you the final due dates and deadlines for each of the claims. You can see at the top that generally for each month, the CACFP claims must be submitted by the 5th working day for them to be paid on time according to our usual schedule. This is the due date. For FDCH sponsors, that due date is the 15th calendar day. So make sure you're considering the correct day based on the type of sponsor that you are. If you're unable to submit your claim by the 5th working day or the 15th working day, according to what type of sponsor you are, then the federal government has a later deadline. So those two deadlines that I've got circled right now are for getting your payment on the usual schedule for it to follow our normal processing timeline. If you miss that date, though, the government timeline is 60 days after the claim opens. So I see that I've got this box under the 27 year, but you can see, for example, for October, whether it's in 2025 or in 2026, the 2025 year is on the left side of this column here. The 60-day deadline is December 30th. So if you're unable to submit by the 5th or the 15th, you do have up to 60 days following the close of the claim month to submit that claim. And at that point, it is the final deadline. The federal government has put that deadline in place, and submitting a claim after that 60-day deadline does require an exception that is only offered for very limited reasons and very limited timeframes. So make sure that you can refer to this document throughout the year to see the final deadlines for submitting your claims, for getting them paid on the usual timeline that of the monthly processing, or if you are in a situation where you need to be aware of the 60-day deadline. So this is up in CACFP Central right now, so you can get it there. We will also send it out as a follow-up to this training, so it will be attached with all the other resources. So when we are looking at due dates and final deadlines for the October claim that we're working on now, the 5th working day for in the month of November to submit the October claim is November 7th. And this is when October claims would usually be due in PrimeroEdge for standard payment. I am making an emphasis on usually because we have talked with our finance department, and because we know applications are still working on getting processed and approved, and some people are still waiting on that from our side to be able to complete, we are able to adjust that timeline for this month only. So for this month, for the October 2025 claim, the due date has been pushed back to November 17th. And you can see that asterisk there that this is a one-time change from the usual 5th working day deadline, or for FDCH sponsors, the 15th calendar day deadline. And that is to accommodate just the transfer and the transition we've been making to get into PrimeroEdge for applications, and to make sure that we've got time to get applications that still need processing and approval taken care of, and then sponsors, once they get their applications approved, can still enter claims. So November 17th is when October claims are due, and that extended deadline is a one-time change for this specific situation. Just to get a couple of other dates on your calendars to keep in mind. December 1 is when November claims will open in PrimeroEdge, and those will follow the typical timeline of being due on the 5th working day or the 15th working day. And then December 30th is the final deadline for October claims. That's that 60-day deadline that the federal government puts out. So that's like the last time to get paid for your October claim. It will obviously be batched and processed with at a later date than claims that are submitted this month, but that is the last time to get the October claim submitted and those reimbursement funds to your way. Just as a note, like I mentioned there, if someone does need to explore the option of submitting a claim after the 60-day deadline, it's called a one-time exception, and federal regulations stipulate that that can only be used once every 3 years. So we do start a 36-month countdown whenever someone does use that type of exception. So we want to reiterate that getting claims in by that 60-day deadline at the very latest is the best way to make sure you're getting your funds and don't have to submit additional information or potentially have a claim denied if a one-time exception has been used before. Okay. Next, we will be going into the resources and training manual that we have put together for putting in CACFP claims into PrimeroEdge. This is another, Nee, can you grab the link for this, or do you want to wait till you get to your part to put that link in the scribe or in the chat?
I put that in the chat right now.
Okay, so this link to this scribe, the PrimeroEdge Program Management CACFP Claims Manual, Nee is going to be putting that into the chat. You can see here that it is also in CACFP Central. It's in the same place where the claim deadlines are, so that resource is available and has the walkthrough for what it looks like to put your claim into PrimeroEdge and is a resource you can refer to after this recording, other months that you're submitting your claim, or any time that you just need a refresher of what the process looks like. Um, all right, I'm going to just go over a couple of things to keep in mind for the manual. The manual is organized by site type. So there are different types of sites that are putting in claims, whether it's a child care center site or a site that has at-risk after school or adult daycare centers and things like that. So make sure when you're referring to that manual and the scribe that you are looking at the correct site type that you are entering a claim for to make sure that you're getting the accurate information. Nee is going to be going over some more details of the scribe and what it looks like to submit a claim into PrimeroEdge. She may not be covering every single section of the scribe for time purposes, and because there will be some repetition and the actual process. Even if site types are slightly different, the claim might look a little different for words that are on the screen, but the process is the same. It's just like CMP Web that you're going to be putting in the number of meals that you served, and the system PrimeroEdge will be calculating the reimbursement based on the information that you provide. So again, just make sure you are using that scribe and referring to the correct section for your site type and sponsor type. A couple of other things to keep in mind for PrimeroEdge is that this system is different than CMP Web, and in some cases it is more rigid than CMP Web. So you want to just be a little flexible as we're learning what the claim process looks like and basically instituting new muscle memory for what it's like to submit a claim. It's not going to be exactly like CMP Web, just the function that it does is the same of CMP Web of calculating and determining the reimbursement for the meals that you put in. So because it is different than CMP Web, make sure you are using the resources that we've put together, as that will help you go step by step through the what PrimeroEdge looks like, what the process looks like for this new system, and just again making sure that you've got those resources to build that muscle memory until it's second nature to put in your claim, just like it was for CMP Web. If you do use our resources and something doesn't line up with the way it seems like it should look, you can certainly let us know. There may be some bugs that we're still figuring out or learning about, and we may need to communicate with PrimeroEdge if any of those come up. So if you are working on your claim and something doesn't look the way you anticipated with the resources that we've provided, or something just isn't working right, definitely reach out to us. We will troubleshoot where we can. Or if we need to reach out to PrimeroEdge, we're still working with them very closely to make sure that things are functioning the way they need to. And if we need to get them to fix something, we will be in touch with you to let you know progress on that. So just make sure you're in communication with us. You can contact your specialist to let them know of anything that you are experiencing that we can help with. All right, before I turn things over to Nee to walk through PrimeroEdge, are there any questions? I'm going to stop sharing so that Nee can prep her sharing. All right. I'm not seeing any hands or any questions in the Q&A box. So, Nee, I will turn it over to you.
Thanks, Nicole. Real quick, I want to go over what the manual looks like. So this is what the claim manual looks like. And as Nicole mentioned earlier, each section of how to submit a claim applies to different site types. So go to the section that applies to your site type to prevent putting in the wrong number if you're not that site type. So I go over those four sections today. And then these three sections are step-by-step instructions on how to revise a claim, how to submit a claim past a 60-day deadline, and how to troubleshoot a claim. I won't all go over these three today, but they're there for you for your use in the future if you ever need them. With that being said, let's get you logged into PrimeroEdge, and this will be the time that you will gather your actual claim numbers and your eligibility number for October 2025. So I give you 1 minute to log in, and I put in the chat the link.
And I'll just put a reminder here, if anyone has trouble logging in, please put that into the Q&A box, and we may need to troubleshoot off screen if necessary.
Okay, I hope that you have been able to log in successfully. So the first thing before that you can submit a claim, what you need to do is you need to check if your application has been approved by our office for this current program year, which is 2025, 2026. So in order to do so, you will first go to Program Management, this tile here, and then you will click on the application tile here, tab here, and then it will show your CACFP application. And under the application status, as you can see, it will show your status. And it should be in approved with the green thumbs up emoji before you can submit an application. Sorry, before you can submit a claim. So if your application has not been approved by our office yet, you can just watch me go through the steps right now, and you can submit your claim later because right now you can't. For those of you that have already had an approved application, that the state has approved your application, please follow along my presentation and put in your actual claim numbers in PrimeroEdge. So once you have checked the status that it has been approved, you'll then go to this reimbursement claims tab, and then it should expand, and then you click on sponsor/SFA claims. Once you click on the sponsor SFA claim, the claim window will appear. On this window, make sure that the year is the current year, just 2025, 2026. And then in the program drop-down list, select CACFP. For the status type, right now just leave it on all so you can see the all claim statuses. In the future, if you want to filter the claim by the status, you can use the drop down under the status type to see only, for example, approved claim, or submitted claim, or in progress claims, etc. And then you will click Create New Claim, this purple button right here. Once you click on the Create New Claim button in this Claim Entry tab, again, make sure the program year is correct, the program is correct. And then you see in the drop down for claim period right here, you can see that the current month is automatically selected and it's in green text. So you might see three different colors in the future. So months that are past the 60-day claiming deadline will be in red text. You will really not want to see red because it will mean that you'll have to use a one-time exception that's only available to use every 3 years. The months that have passed but is still within the 60-day claiming deadline will be in blue text. And then the current months and the months that have not yet occurred will be in green text. So for now, all of the months that you see on here will be green. For the claim entry method, there are two methods that you can enter your claim. The manual entry is where you will manually enter data for each site individually. And then there's this upload file option that will let you upload bulk data for all sites at once. And this method is best for larger sponsors with multiple sites or multiple providers. However, unfortunately, this function is not yet available for this year, so it will be available next year, 2026, 27, and we'll provide instruction on how to use this upload file function later next year. So for now, please click on the manual entry method. And then you click Next. Then the Claim Details tab will appear. The Claim Detail tab will appear and it will show a list of the sites participating in the CACFP for the select month. So only sites that are actively operating during the month that you are submitting the claim for will be displayed on this list. And you can click on the right-facing arrow next to the site name to expand the claim. And then all the information that you need to enter will show down and ask for the information for each site. So that's how you navigate to how to enter a claim. Now I will go over the claim entry for different site types. The first site type I will go over is a care center and adult daycare center. These site types have the same setup for the claims. Even though these two site types will be the first site types I'm going over, the information and the functionality required for all site types are largely the same. So even if you don't have child care center or if you don't have an adult daycare center, please still pay attention to this part of the presentation since the information I'm going to go over will still apply to all site types. So right now is October. This is the month where you are required to establish claimant percentage for each site that is existing. For new sites or new sponsors, you are required to establish claiming percentage in the first month when the new site submits a CACFP claim. So you will only be able to fill out this eligibility section during the month that you are establish the claiming percentage. Let me zoom in. Here we go. So in order to establish claiming percentage for child care center and adult daycare center, in the eligibility section under CACFP column, you will enter the number of participants approved for free meals and participants approved for reduced meals and number of participants that are enrolled, the total number of enrolled participants. So the number of enrolled participants field is the number of free plus reduced plus paid participants enrolled at the site So even though you don't see a line to enter the paid number, the system will automatically calculate this paid number by subtracting the free reduced participants from the total enrolled participants. And then the claiming, once you put in the numbers for these fields, the claiming percentage will automatically auto-populated, calculated by the system, and it will show up here. Quick note, if your child care center is also a at-risk after-school program site, the number of the enrolled participants is the total of all the participants in the child care center, plus the number of the enrolled participants in that risk after school program at the site. And then the eligibility for this combo site will just be based on the number of the participants in the child care center. So please keep that in mind if you have both child care center and at-risk center for the same site. Please note that once the claiming percentage month has passed, you will not be able to fill out this eligibility section in subsequent monthly claims. If you do want to change the claiming percentage after the claiming percentage month, please contact your assigned specialist, and they will have the access to update your claiming percentage afterward. So that's how you establish claiming percentage. The next section that some of you will see is the for-profit enrollment requirement. So this section only applies to for-profit sponsors, and for-profit sponsors are required to complete this section every month when submitting a monthly claim. For public and nonprofit sponsors, you won't see this section. Let me zoom in. This section, this for-profit section. So nonprofit and public sponsors, you can skip this section in the manual as you won't see this one. So for-profit enrollment section, you will fill out the number of participants that have Title 20 and Title 21. Yes, beneficiaries. And also you will enter the number of free or reduced price meal benefits in this field. And then you'll enter the number of total enrollment or license capacity of the facility, whichever is lower. And then the eligibility percentage for for-profit sponsors will be automatically calculated. To be eligible to submit a claim, this percentage must be at least 25% or higher. So as you can see in my example here, it's only 20%. So that means that for the specific site and this for specific example sponsor, they won't be able to submit the claim. And then you'll click on certification, this button right here. And if the site meets the 25% eligibility threshold, you will choose the first option, and then you will click certify. And after that, you'll fill out the claim as usual. Follow the manual to complete the claim. If the site does not meet the 25% threshold, you click on the second radio button here, which says that you are not eligible to claim for the site for that month because it's below 25% threshold. So if you click that second button and then you click the certify button, the system will automatically populate all meal counts as 0, as no meals are reimbursable for that month. And then I will go through this step later, but you will skip to step 34 in this manual to completing the claim. Now I will move on to the meals information section. This is the section where you will actually fill out the meal numbers. So first field, monthly attendance. This For each meal or snack column, you will enter the total attendance at the site for the entire month. This is the total number of participants who attended the site over the course of the month, and it is not the average daily attendance or participation in the meal program. So, for example, you have 300 participants attended each day, and the site was in session for 20 days. The total attendance would be 300 participants multiplied by 20 days for a total of 6,000. So you put in 6,000 here, and whatever other total number for the other meals and snack. You might be able to have this monthly attendance already available to you if you have a food service online system that might already have this information. But if you don't have that information easily accessible to you by the claim submission deadline, you can use an estimate of an average daily attendance by the number of operating day. The overall expectation is that all the data entered into the system is accurate as much as possible. So when you do use the estimation method, it'd be great if you can please put your reasoning and your calculation in the notes tab in the claim. Moving on to the next field, which is operating days. These are the number of operating days for each meals and snack throughout the month. And then for child care center and adult daycare center with claiming percentage, the free, reduced, and paid meals lines are grayed out. So you will only enter the number of total meals served on this line. The system will auto-populate how many meals will be claimed at the free, reduced, and paid rate using the claiming percentage that you established earlier. So double check this total meal served number and then make sure that it doesn't exceed the monthly attendance. For adult meals, these are the adults that are not program participants that consume meals at the site. So, for example, if you have teachers or staff or workers that eat the meals, you can enter the numbers here. And then once you're done filling out the information for the site claim, click the Save Site Data for each site. If there's anything that the system catches that is wrong, the status for the claim for each site will be in error status. And you can click on that right-facing arrow again to expand the site to see the error message. As you can see here, the error message is in red up here. So sometimes the fields containing the errors will be in red borders, so you can follow the red borders or just closely follow the error message up here to correct all the error fields until all the errors are resolved. And then you click Save Site Data again. I will fix this slide. Click Save Slide Data again. Give me 1 second. Okay, there you go. Once you click Save Site Data again, and after all the errors are fixed, the status of each claim will be incomplete or complete with warning status. Important note, even though each site claim shows a status of complete or complete with warning status, you are not finished. At this point, your claim is still in draft mode, so continue following this whole manual to successfully submit the claim. If you have multiple sites, repeat the filling out process until all the claim entries are incomplete or complete with warnings. Okay, now I move on to demonstrate how to fill out claims for other site types. So I will move on to at risk, Head Start, Homeless Emergency Shelter. Toward the end of this presentation, I walk all sponsors through the steps to certify and submit your claim. So sponsors of childcare and adult daycare centers that I just went over, please stay till the end of the presentation so you know how to certify and submit your claim so you can get your reimbursement. Um, so I move on to at risk, after school, Head Start, and homeless emergency shelter. The information asked between sites are largely the same, just a teeny bit tweak here and there. So for at risk, after school, Head Start, and homeless emergency shelter, uh, these sites also need to establish claiming percentage with the same month as childcare and adult daycare. So in order to do so, in the eligibility section, you will just enter the number of enrolled participants in on this field. Because all participants in at-risk, Head Start, and homeless emergency shelters, all the children enrolled in these sites are automatically free. So because of that, the system will automatically match this number of enrolled participants um, to match the proof for the site type. And then once again, after the claiming claiming percentage month has passed, you will not be able to fill out this section, and you have to contact your support specialist to adjust this number if needed. And then if the sponsor of any of these sites are for profit, you will also need to fill out the for-profit enrollment section the exact same way that I went over earlier for child care center and adult daycare center. So I will move on to the meals information section for at risk, after school, and Head Start. Fill out the monthly attendance the same way you calculate the monthly attendance as for all other site types, and then fill out the operating days. And then because of all meals served to children enrolled in these site types are free, you will only need to put in um, one rate for the meal served. So you will enter the number of the meals that you serve to children in the total initial meal served here. And if you have second meals served to program participants, you can enter the second meal served in this line as well. And then the total meal served line will be automatically populate from the numbers that you entered above. So make sure that this total meal served for the month is correct and it doesn't exceed the monthly attendance. Adult meal count, same as child care center and adult daycare, where you enter the number of meals who are not program participants served for the month. And then click Save Site Data for each site. And then I will now go over how to submit the claim for family daycare home who have tier 1, tier 2 low, tier 2 high, and tier 2 high reimbursement rate. For FDCH tier 1, tier 2 low, and tier 2 high, um, your providers, you're required to establish claiming percentage for each family daycare home in October and April. So 2 months that you can establish claiming percentage, unlike the other sites. And for new home providers, new providers, you will you will establish claim percentage the first month they submit a CACFP claim and the other month, either October or April. Um, for enrollment in tier 1, tier 2 low, and tier 2 high, all participants have the same reimbursement rate. So you will also only put in one number for the eligibility. And then the system will automatically match the number of tier 2 or tier 1 or tier 2 low, this number here. And then for the meals information section, you fill out the monthly attendance, the operating days the same way, and then you only need to fill out the total meals served for the month because they're all reimbursed at the same rate. And then you click Save Site Data, which is pretty easy for family daycare home, tier 1, tier 2, low and high. The last site type I want to go over is family daycare home with tier 2 mix, since they have different reimbursement rate. For tier 2 mix FDCH provider, under the eligibility section, you will fill out both the number of tier 2 high enrollment and the number of enrolled participants. The total number of enrolled participants is the total number of tier 2 high and tier 2 low. So you have two different numbers to enter here. And then the claiming percentage will auto-populate right here after you enter the numbers. And then, yeah, here we go. In the eligibility, I put 3 for tier 2 high and then 10 for total enroll. Then you'll have 30% tier 2 high and then 70% tier 2 low. Moving on to the meals information for FDCH tier 2 mix. You enter the monthly attendance and operating days as usual. And then the tier 2 high meal served and tier 2 low meal served lines are grayed out. And you will only enter the total meal served line right here at the bottom. And then the system will automatically calculate how many meals will be reimbursed at the tier 2 high rate and how many meals will be claimed at the tier 2 low rate over here based on your claiming percentage that you established earlier. And then click Save Site Data, done for each site. Okay, so now I have gone over how to fill out the claim entry for all site type. I will go over how to certify and submit the claims, and this applies to all sponsors. So please pay close attention to this part of the presentation, or else you won't know how to submit your claim to get reimbursed. So after all sites have been in complete or complete with warnings, you will have to click on this Save All Site Data button up here. This is a very important step because no matter if you're a single sponsor or a sponsor with multiple sites and provider, everyone has to click the Save All Sites Data button. If you skip this button, the claim total will be incorrect. So make sure to click this Save All Site Data after all sites are in complete with warning to make sure that you have the accurate claim reporting and the accurate claim reimbursement. And then once you click that Save All Site Data, you click Next. At this stage, your claim is still in draft mode and has not been submitted yet. The next three tabs you'll see are expenses, documents, and notes. These three tabs might not apply to all of you, but you still need to go through each tab and review each tab before you certify the claim. So in the expenses tab, you can enter any expenses that you want to keep track of here on this tab. However, our office does not require you to enter anything in this tab. In the Documents tab, you can upload any documents you want to keep track of, but our office don't require any documents to be uploaded here in this tab either. And then in the Notes tab, as I mentioned earlier, if you use an estimation calculation for the monthly claim, sorry, for the monthly attendance, please note your method of calculating here. If not, you don't have to add anything in this Notes tab. And then you will see the Claim Summary tab, which is the next tab. It will show the sponsor level overview of the claims, which include total sponsor enrollment and meal counts by type, sorry. So for example, if you want to see how many meals are claimed for what meal type, you can click on this right facing arrow to expand the claims, and you can have an overview of the claims. And then after you make sure that all the numbers look correct, you will click on Next over here. And then the tab that will actually let you submit the claim is the Certification tab. You should see the Certification tab now. In the future, if you ever run into a situation where this Certification tab does not appear, please make sure that all your previous claims have been fully submitted. The system is set up to only display the Certification tab for the current claim once all prior claims are submitted. So once you're in the Certification tab, you will click on the Certify checkbox here to show that make sure that the claim is accurate, and then you will hit Submit Claim. And then a green banner with the sentence "Claim has been submitted" will appear to let you know that the claim is now successfully submitted and in submitted status. Important, the claim must be in submitted status to be accepted and be reimbursed by the state. So if the claim is not marked as submitted, the claim is considered incomplete and it will not be paid out. So let's say if you go through all this and the claim is, you haven't seen this claim has been submitted status, the claim might still be in progress and you won't get paid out. In order to view the status of all the claim, you can click this button, Back to Claim right here. And then it will show all the claims, the monthly claim in the reimbursement claims table. So a month without a right-facing arrow next to them, so these three, indicate that no claim has been entered for those months. The claims that have the right-facing arrow next to them indicates that a claim has been entered for the month. It just says that it has been entered. It doesn't mean that it has been submitted. So in order to check the status, you will click on that. You will click on this right-facing arrow, and then it will show, sorry, it's a little small, but it will expand, and then under the status column, the status needs to be submitted for you to get reimbursed. To review the submitted claim details, you will want to go to this report columns right here under the claim and then click on the standard button. So this is the best way, the safest way to review the details of your claim, because it will allow you to pull up a report of your claim data, and then you can double check your claim data without risking making any accidental edits. We have seen a lot of cases where sponsors unintentionally modified their claims during viewing the data, and then they accidentally revert the claim back into in progress status, and the claim didn't get paid out on schedule because it was not put in submitted status again. So in order to avoid this accident, please always use the standard button when reviewing a submitted claim. And then you can click to see the summary of the claim or the detailed option of the claim. If you click on the summary, you will see a summary of the claim details for all sites. If you click on this detail button, it will let you show it's in more details for each site, for each meal. So that's pretty much it. Um, Now I will leave you time. We only have 2 more minutes, but here is the highlights of what I want you to remember after this training. So now it's time for questions. And also, if you want to submit your claim, please do so.
Thank you, Neat, very much for going over that. That's a lot of different claim types to review. While people are working on claims, if you're able to do that with your sponsor application status, I do want to go over, just mention a couple of questions that came through in the Q&A box that I answered that way, but so people have information about them. One was just a question about the buffering time for the website. Someone said that they're seeing a lot of the watermelon. So one suggestion that we've gotten from PrimeroEdge when that happens is to clear your browser cache and then to restart your browser. That can help with things. We're also working with PrimeroEdge to make sure that any bugs or anything that might be getting in the way of the system buffering and loading and things like that are being addressed. So please know that we are working with PrimeroEdge on that, and but some of the advice we've gotten is, like I said, clear your cache and then restart your browser. Another question that came through was asking about why to enter the number of meals that are served to non-program adults, since those meals are not reimbursed. And that is correct. Meals served to non-program adults are not reimbursed. This is just one of the ways that PrimeroEdge offers to track them. Since you are recording them on your documentation, it's something that PrimeroEdge has incorporated into their claim form, so you can track and record them there as well. And a question just came through that I'm reading live right now. If you are a sponsor of several homes and centers, at what point can't we go back and make changes to the claim? I'm assuming this is after it has been submitted. So if the person wants to jump on the mic and correct me if my answer starts going in a different direction than you were asking about, feel free, or type another question in the chat. But like Nee was saying, once the claim is submitted, you've kind of handed it off to the state agency. However, this is one of the big differences between PrimeroEdge and CMP Web. In CMP Web, once you submitted it to the state and it was in approved status, the sponsor could not make changes unless they talked to the state. In PrimeroEdge, I really hope I just said that last example I gave was CMP Web, that did not let the sponsor make edits. In PrimeroEdge, even if the claim is in submitted status, the system itself does not stop the sponsor from going in to make edits. And that's where Nee was saying you need to be really, really careful. If your claim is in submitted status and you're looking at something, be aware that you may be adjusting the claim, and that might take it out of submitted status, and it might not send it to the state to be processed and approved according to normal timelines. So this is, again, one of those changes about just how PrimeroEdge functions a little bit differently than CMP Web. So as far as what point can you not go back and make changes, Nee, do you happen to know off the top of your head, I'm putting you on the spot here, what status a claim can be in where the sponsor no longer has access to it?
You can pretty much change it at any point. Even if it's after it's paid, you can still change it to upward adjustment, I'm pretty sure. However, keep in mind the due date and the deadline. So if you already have a paid claim, sorry, if you already submitted your claim and then you decide to change it 60 days after, that will be considered submitting the claim after the 60-day deadline, and you will have to use a one-time exception.
Yes, that's a good reminder. So I guess the thing to keep in mind there is the status of the claim itself in PrimeroEdge doesn't create nearly as much of a hurdle for a sponsor to go in to make changes as it did in CMP Web. It's just, again, the difference in functionality. So make sure that if you want to review the claim, Nee showed where you can do that without adjusting numbers or accidentally changing the status. And if you are not sure if you change the status, make sure that you're always checking it. The other thing to keep in mind is, like Nee said, after those deadlines, the 60-day deadline, if you're making a change, it would be considered a one-time exception that is only allowed once every 36 months. And other than that, that's the one that will really be a definite stopgap of getting paid at all, because after that 60-day deadline, again, additional requirements are uh, stated in regulation that we would have to follow to get that type of claim paid. So the answer to this question of going back to make changes is be really, really mindful of what status your application, or excuse me, what status your claim is in. And if you're making changes, being wary and aware that when you're done making changes, the status is back where it needs to be for it to be on the state side of things.
And as I mentioned earlier, there is this section here about revising a claim that will show step by step and what status is. You can change your claim.
All right, there are no other questions in the Q&A box, and I don't see any hands raised or anything like that. So, oh, someone made a question just as I was saying that. So we've got a question. Can we make downward adjustments after the 60 days without state assistance? A downward adjustment so just to give some examples, a downward adjustment would be essentially decreasing the amount of the claim that you've requested. And I believe that one does not have the same stipulation with the 60 days. A downward adjustment, I'm going to use really easy numbers so I can say this simply. If your original claim was $100 and you realize that you counted meals wrong and it needs to go down and it makes your claim $90, then that can be done with it outside of the 60 day. It can be done after the 60 day, and then the difference is made up in a future claim. We still encourage you to make sure that you are documenting your claims correctly and being as accurate as you possibly can in your claims. But a downward adjustment is a little easier to make happen simply because it's not you asking for more money. It's when the adjustment results in a higher amount of reimbursement than the original claim that 60 days really comes into play for whether or not it will go through without additional requirements. And I also got a chat from someone on my team that as far as claim statuses, if the status is in batch or if it is pending payment, that says like the state agency has already begun processing and like moved that claim to the next step. So in those statuses, I don't think the sponsor will have editing opportunities the way it would in submitted status. So be aware of those status kinds as well. Okay, well, we've just gone a couple of minutes over. Thank you everyone for joining. Thank you, Nee, for doing the variety of claims types that there are. If your application has been approved, then you are able to go in and begin working on your claim now. If you do have questions about logging in or what you see, I will be sending out the resources that we can as soon as I can after this. After we shut this down, it might take a little bit longer to get the recording out, but the claim deadline, calendar document, and the scribe links and all of that will be sent out just so you have them again as rapidly as possible. Like I said earlier, we are still working on looking at applications, moving as many of them into approved as we can so that sponsors can begin working on their claims. We know that you want to become familiar with this new system as well. So getting in there is an important part of that. So thank you for your patience with that as we are getting through the applications that have come in. Other than that, let us know if you've got questions that are coming up on your application or your claim, and we'll just be sending out that information as we are able to help you out. So thank you everyone for joining today. It was great to see so many people logging on and a couple of faces, and just we appreciate your flexibility and transition to this new system with us. So everyone have a great rest of your day.